another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and today we're going to try something a little different than what we usually do. We often show you what sold on eBay videos, BOLO videos. Mr. Magazine and I, the Million Dollar Peddlers, we tend to have those every Saturday, and definitely should check them out. We got some good stories about them, some interesting things that sold, and all that. But today we're going to have a video sort of like that. These are all things that sold. So I did make some money on everything that I'm going to show you. That being said, these are things that in about the last 2 to 3 weeks sold, most of which had long tails. And we're going to take a quick look, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes, either in what I bought, what I listed, my pictures, what I did or didn't say, and that kind of thing. So kind of want to bring this to you so that you can learn from my mistakes and not make the mistakes that I make. Would like to get started here. The first item is the CFL, Canadian Football League. You are invited to Toronto Argonauts 1976 brochure, Anthony Davis. It did sell for the full $15.18. Did have free shipping on it. So I got $15 out of this. I probably paid $1. So on the one hand, 4 years, 3 years probably, because this sold wasn't listed right away in 2018. So it took 3 years to sell. I got $15 out of it for $1. In and of itself, that's not bad whatsoever. However, I am always a sucker for CFL items. You do find them around upstate New York because people will have gone into Canada and seen a game and picked up some of the information from it and brought it down. Or if I take a travel up into Canada, I often see the stuff up there. And I always end up buying it because I say, oh, this is uncommon stuff. This is rare stuff. It's going to sell. Don't make those mistakes. Again, turning $1 into $15 less the fees in 3 years. Yeah, I did okay on it, but they're not nearly as good items as you would think that they are. Just for whatever reason, whether it's that there aren't a lot of fans, whether the fans that there are generally north of the border and it would cost a fair amount of shipping to get stuff sent to them. Whatever the reason happens to be, I would tell you that even though they're uncommon items, I would not jump on buying the CFL stuff right away. You're going to find that it does not sell very well at all in general. I probably could have put Canadian Football League in here. I did put CFL, but I would think if I put Canadian Football League instead of you are invited to, even though that is indeed what the front says, nobody is searching on you were invited to. So that was a mistake on my part as well. Did sell. Don't buy them in general. Next item we have over here is something else. And again, it did sell, but it took 10 years to sell. 12.12 plus $3 shipping. So I got $15 out of it. And again, the thing that you need to keep in mind when you do the ephemera long tail is your cost of goods is very, very small. This probably cost me, back in 2012, I bet I would have bought it at an auction. I probably paid 25 cents to 50 cents for this item in a box lot of stuff. Sure, I made my money out of it. That being said, Nassau in the Bahamas, Air and Sea Cruises from Miami brochure 1960. Generally, this kind of thing is a tough sale. It took 10 years. Now, part of the problem is this was back when I was only doing one picture, so I only have the one picture up. It was a fine picture, but I should have put more pictures up. I believe back in 2012, they actually charged you extra money for extra pictures. So I only had one on a lot of my older items for that reason alone. Certainly, I believe it was something like a quarter for an extra picture. Would not have put a quarter a month into getting a second picture on it. Just not worth it. But this kind of thing, and again, it just opened up. It was a small brochure. This kind of thing has a very, very long tail on it. What I would do at this point, if you do come across things like this, would be take them and put them all together. The other thing that I probably should have put was about the guard is famous, the police is famous. I should have put that in instead of Air and Sea Cruises from Miami brochure. Could have used the and sign right there, et cetera, and saved some space up there and mentioned that he was on there. Probably would have sold faster. Next item we have over here, New York Mets versus St. Louis Cardinals 1977 program, L. Lang Stadium rededication. Again, it's a spring training game. I didn't mention spring training. It's one picture only, again, because back in 2012, that's all you could have. If I were doing it now, I would definitely put up the scorecard itself. If I did note down below that it has Bake McBride and Gary Templeton, and I did note down below spring training program. Another thing back in the day, it was a lot easier to search off of title and description. So as long as you had the stuff in the description, people would find it anyway. So if somebody were searching on spring training back in 2012, they would have found this. Then they went and changed and made that a lot more difficult to do. I never updated my listings. Another problem I had was, for whatever reason, a bad picture here. It's cropped here on the side. That tends to hurt it as well. Now, obviously, I would take a much better picture of it as well, take multiple pictures and the like. But again, that ties back into what I was talking about with the CFL program. Not many of these were made. I mean, it was a spring training program. It wasn't the regular game. It's difficult to find. That being said, they don't go as well as you would think that they would. I suppose had I put the rosters in there, somebody or other that never made it to the show might have wanted it because they may have been there in spring training and they may have wanted it as well. I hurt myself by not putting that picture up as well. So if you do get these kind of programs, definitely do put the scorecard part of it up. The next item we have, and this is something, it sold. I don't know why I listed it. Very rarely do I ever say that. This is an item that I do not know why I listed. University of Rochester 1951 financial statement, U of R. And I took an offer on it. I had it at $10.08. So it took 14 years to sell. One picture, again, should have had more pictures up. Really didn't know what to say. Lightware, statement of financial trusteeship, the University of Rochester, 16 pages, great piece, great college. I mean, talk about not knowing what to possibly say about it either. I'm sure that I didn't pay for this. Back in 2008, it definitely would have come from an auction, probably auction of some alumni, and this was in there. And I just kind of listed it because it was sitting there, and I probably listed some other University of Rochester stuff. But things like this are extremely, extremely long tail. That took 14 years to sell. I think I took a $6.50 offer on it, plus the shipping. I ended up getting $10 out of it. Happy to have it gone. That being said, I would not make the mistake of listing again. If you get this kind of thing, especially if it's from a local college, put it away, save it up, do a lot of stuff from the college. It's not going to sell any faster, but at least that way you're getting rid of a lot of stuff instead of taking the time to list something like this that takes forever to sell. Next thing we had over here, Mankind Magazine, first issue, Crimean War, Gulf, Don Juan, Rome, Rasputin, May to June 1967. Actually, not a bad title at all. Hits most of the keywords that you could have used. I did not put in a picture. Again, 2012, I was not putting in a second picture. Took 10 years to sell. Definitely do note first issue. That was the reason why it sold. The person that bought this bought 4 other first issues, including a first issue that I had up since 2010. So that was what it sold, was what sold it. No table of contents. Again, just not a great listing overall. Just not a great magazine, I guess, because I don't know what else I could have put up on it other than the table of contents. I probably would not put the May to June 1967. I would just put the May, which would then give me a little extra space there to work with. Some magazines just aren't good magazines. I think I took a $15 offer on it. The gentleman bought some other things. Happy to see it go. The funny thing, when I was researching items for this, I found out I did have a second copy of this that I had listed with the table of contents in 2020. So when I do this kind of video in 2030, you'll see another copy of this over here up there. The next item I have up is just a bad listing all around, bad item to be listed, and so on. Shooting Times Magazine, Smith & Wesson Varmints, August 1964, because I'm sure a lot of people search on varmints. I listed it in 2013. No table of contents. Bad picture. For whatever reason, the scanner that I was using at that time cropped pictures. So it cropped it. But here's the crazy part about how it cropped it. Take a look here at my condition. Piece missing on top right. So I tell you it's missing, but then I don't even picture it. Very, very poor listing as far as that goes. Nowadays, I would definitely put the table of contents. I probably wouldn't even list it at this point, but should I do so, I would put the table of contents. And again, I had it priced at $11.13. I think I took $6 on it, so 6 plus the 4 shipping, I got $10 out of it. Shooting Times magazines tend not to be very good magazines in general. I'm certain there are exceptions, but this took 9 years to sell. Granted, the listing wasn't very good, but it took 9 years to sell. You can find magazines like this out there. I generally walk right by them. Probably the best thing to do if you get a bunch of them is lot them together. I would not waste the time listing them individually in general, because again, if it takes 9 years to sell and it doesn't sell for hardly anything, your time is better spent elsewhere. We do have a video up about opportunity costs, and I think that a magazine like this is the perfect thing to illustrate an opportunity cost. I could have listed something else. I listed this. It took 9 years to sell. At least it sold, but don't waste your time. Don't make the same mistakes. And the last thing I have over here is something that really should have sold faster and for more, but it's on me. A couple of different reasons why, a couple of different things I would do differently should I list something like this again. Chosen Survivors, Columbia Catalog of Ad Mats, 1974, Jackie Cooper. What this was the movie theater sent it out, or the movie production house, studio, there we go, that's what I was trying to say, sent it out to the movie theaters to help them with advertising. And what they could do is they could go through it and they could pick out, oh, I want the poster, I want this, I want that, I want the lobby cards, I want. They could choose what they wanted in order to sell and promote the movie within their theater. Great. One picture. Again, back in 2011, it cost extra for extra pictures, so I only put one. This is oversized, I believe 11 by 17. Oversized item. At the time, I did not have the CZUR Scanner, so I put it on a standard scanner. That was all of it I had. And I tell you it's called Chosen Survivors, yet if you look at my picture, it's Ozen Survivors. So it was a poor picture as far as that went. Only the one picture. I should have had extra pictures of that as well. And I didn't mention anywhere what kind of movie it is. It looks as though it's a horror movie. Thinking maybe if I put Chosen Survivors horror movie, that probably would have gotten more people to buy it. Notice I also use the British spelling of catalog, even though that's not needed. It probably says catalog on there with the UE. Well, I can drop the UE off of it and just say catalog, save 2 more spaces there to put something else up. So these are all things that I have completely done wrong in these listings, or things that are not nearly as hot as they should be. And I was talking with Mr. Magazine this morning. He had picked up a bunch of movie promotional things, the books with the photos and all that kind of thing. And I said, boy, I know those are good, yet they're never as good as I think they are, so I tend to walk by them. And he said, well, you got them at the right price, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, I know that they sell, but in my head, and it might be because of things like this, I think that those movie promotional things are never very good. And that's something or other that I need to go beyond and think, well, yeah, you're right. They didn't sell. Perhaps they sold because you put really bad listings up. So hopefully you can take these mistakes that I've made and learn from them. Don't list the Shooting Times magazines. They're generally not worth it. Mankind magazines, not a good magazine. It took forever to sell. University of Rochester, when you have one financial statement from the 1950s, don't list it. It takes forever to sell. And multiple pictures definitely sell items. And again, in my defense, back then it would have cost extra money, so I wasn't doing it. But definitely put multiple pictures up and try to get the right size scanner in order to do the oversized things. I look through a lot of things that I have up now, Post Magazine, Life magazines, things like that I use the standard size scanner on, and I really did crop just by necessity the magazine covers, and they do not look good. They do not jump out at you. It's just they're not very good listings overall. I've got enough things to list that I don't bother going back and tweaking the old listings. But if I were listing again, I would definitely change the pictures on them. So hopefully this shows you what I've done wrong, and you can learn from that. Do hit the like button. Do comment down below any tips that you could give anybody on some of these listings here that I had, or any mistakes that you made. Do let us know. That's where we try to make our channel different from other people's. A lot of people out there are know-it-alls who every deal is great and they make a ton of money. We're not. We make mistakes. These things have taken 14 years to sell in the one instance. That is long tail, certainly, and sadly, it's not the oldest thing I have listed in my store. So hopefully this helps you some. Do hit the like button, do subscribe, and we will see you next video.